Yo, what's up? I've got something I really want to talk about. Something that is super cool, super awesome. I feel highly motivated to talk about it. It's taking the internet by storm, just the public in general by storm. And that's Severance. This show just finished its second season, and man, was this a good season or what? The show just finished its second season, and I just want to talk about it. I think this show is a breath of fresh air. Lately, there's just been a ton of reboots, and I think we're all kind of sick of just seeing the same thing just redone over and over and over again. And Severance, for sure, has come along and taken over as far as a brand new show. Now, this show in particular, I want to talk about that it's a, retro, kind of this new awesome retro futurism set kind of with like 80s and 90s themes with like the animatronics. I think it's also got the synthesizer tones for the music rather than this kind of like deep epic soundtrack that you find in a lot of new shows lately. It's just such a new and exciting a breath of fresh air. I want to talk about it. I want to answer the question, is it metal? And of course, being a metalhead, we obviously know what metal means. It means the very best of the best, the most explosive, dynamic, out of this world, phenomenal, face-melting, glass-eating perfection. And that's what we're going to ask the question, is Severance metal? Let's talk about some of the things that I didn't like about it. First thing, I want to talk about Severance as a whole, not just Season 2. I want to talk about Season 1 and Season 2. Kind of a caveat, there's a couple things that I want to throw out there. First and foremost, the series has just started. We're only on Season 2, and so because of that, I can't really make a good judgment as far as, is it going to be the best show of all time? Hard to say. It's just on Season 2 right now. So I'm really only going to be talking about Season 2 and what I liked and disliked about it. But it inspired me enough to start making this as a YouTube channel. Being a metalhead, being a huge fan of that, I'm going to have a variety of topics, but first and foremost, as a metalhead, as a fucking nerd, I love to deep dive and talk about weird, funky shit like this. And so, yeah, I want to talk about Severance. I think it really made an impact, especially this last season. Let's talk about the caveat of this is only on Season 2 right now. It hasn't finished by all means. It's just the beginning. And so with that being said, it can still completely disappoint and shatter my fucking world. Just like Game of Thrones did, just like Lost did. Definitely got burned by Lost. I was an avid watcher, and Lost just got lost. Let's face it, it sucked. I guess comparing it to other shows, I'm thinking the best show of all time, let's just say, it is Better Call Saul, followed by Breaking Bad, which was kind of the stepping stone to Better Call Saul as one of the best TV shows of all time. Started great, ended great. Every single episode, really well done. Tons of symbolism. So, but like I said, we're not going to be comparing that to completed seasons. We're not going to be comparing it to anything really. I'm just kind of spitballing, throwing stuff out here because I like to talk about this weird, nerdy shit. However, things I disliked about Season 1 and Season 2, or just Severance in general, things I disliked about Season 1/Season 2, just Severance overall. I really did not like the way they ended Season 1. I felt like they ended it at the climax of the show. And I get, they wanted, people to keep watching it and to come back and to know what happened. But, after like 3 years of waiting, I understand there was a writer's strike in there, but at the same time, it also, guys, come on. you can end a TV series. You can end the TV series without having to clip it at the climax. You can make and write really, really good season and have some of that resolution in there instead of just chopping it off at the climax. To me, I felt like that was really disappointing for season one. Then going into season two, waiting 2 to 3 years until that came out, and then as soon as season two comes out, you're spending the first couple episodes resolving basically what should have been resolved in season one. I just don't, in my opinion, I don't think that's very good. I don't like when that happens. I feel like it almost feels like they didn't have enough to resolve it, and they just almost were like, well, let's end it here and let's get some time to think about it, come up with something instead of just, actually finishing it and then leaving us with something new. I think that could have all definitely been done in season one. Now, some people may disagree with me on that, totally fine, but that's just my opinion. Another issue that I have with it, which isn't, I guess, necessarily a bad issue, but to me, it's not long enough. I feel like we need more Severance. I feel like the season should be longer, and maybe that is because I felt like I did get robbed a little bit in the first couple episodes of season two, and that's just, again, my opinion and what I believe. I feel like we could make the seasons just a little bit longer, dive a little deeper into some of these characters. This kind of leads me into what I liked about it, which was, first and foremost, all of the acting, superb. Top to bottom, I think every single was super interesting. All have awesome, interesting motivations. And I just want to know more and more and more about each and every character and kind of how they interact and with each other. I want more screen time. Like, I want more screen time with Kobel / Selvig. Milchek, I think, honestly stole the show. He is absolutely in this. Even, I love Dylan, Mark S., and hell, I mean, just top to bottom, every single actor just nailed their part, and I want to know more and more about each character, because that's how, not only the acting and also the writing, both together, I think, it just made it so, each character is so compelling. Even Rickon, he has like 7 books that he's written. I want to know more. I want to hear more quotes from, his book. I mean, it's so goofy and hilarious. I just want more. Something else I thought was really good that they had done in season 2 was they are answering, they're making progress with Gemma and resolving kind of what's going on with Gemma. That was my biggest fear, was we were going to be left with that question. Well, I guess we still are, but if the writers are doing a great job of bringing us progress of Gemma, which I think is like kind of one of the main mysteries that we are all burning to know, considering, Mark, played by Adam Scott, is the main character that they are making progress with and resolving Gemma's kind of storyline. And in some way, they definitely did have a resolution. I guess I should put in here that there are going to be major spoilers. I'm going to be spoiling this whole thing. So if you haven't watched it, I apologize. I may have already spoiled some stuff. I'll put a warning at the very beginning that I will be spoiler in this and in the description. So it's your fault if you keep listening and you hear something you don't want to because you haven't finished it. And it's been out long enough, so fuck you. So anyway, I just love the symbolism in the show where, again, going back to Gemma, the last, her Cold Harbor is her dismantling her most powerful memory and like wiping it out by taking apart the cradle. Oh my god! I might have to cut that out. What is it called? What's it called, Gimli? Baby crib. That's what I'm. There it is. Baby crib. Yes, her dismantling her baby crib at the very end, and not having any memory of it as she's taking apart, and then Mark comes in to basically pull her back. The symbolism in that was just delicious. Loved it so much. So cool. Something else that really, really stood out to me that I want to talk about. So I have been in the corporate world for quite a while. There are horrible, horrible parts of the corpo world. And the kind of how corporations work, where a lot of times you have this feeling of work is more important than, kind of your outside life. And it's more of like corporations, I feel like our work is more important than your life. And you need to, and the corporations are basically telling their employees that they need to value the company above all else. And that there's a lot of pressure, especially from the older generation, I feel like, as far as, really putting the company first, and it's your work, and that's not your life. I love that they dive into this with Milchek, where Milchek basically goes very, very far and, beyond, I'm guessing, what his job description is, by working all hours of the night, devoting himself to the company, completely, fixing every single problem that he can on the severed floor, and just to have the company come in and tell him during his review, he's using too big of words. He's getting blamed for all of the problems on the severed floor. He is just busting his ass, and he's getting zero credit for it, basically getting the worst of both ends, because all of the innies hate him, as they see him as kind of the jailer. And he kind of is, he definitely is. The, corporate board and the higher ups are basically saying, yeah, you're doing a terrible job and you're the reason why everything is falling apart. When in reality, Heliar is her as the innie and as the outie are actually the main reasons why all this was kicked off to begin with, which I again find ironic that it's the main, the quote unquote like CEO or, the highest level of the corporation is directly the issue of why everything's falling apart, but middle management gets blamed for it. And then I love, too, that Mark, it kind of all comes to a culmination with Mark and Milchek having a conversation over the phone as Mark wants to take a personal day or a couple personal days. And Milchek is like, I really need to get you in here. And Mark basically is telling him, look, it's just work. I need to take a personal day. It doesn't mean that I'm never coming in. It's not the end of the world. Whereas Milchek is like, this is the end of the world, has that mentality, and that just all came to a culmination. It's kind of like the snapping point of Milchek and having him realize, like, I am working for the enemy, kind of like, wait, hold on a second. Am I really working for the good guy here? Am I really doing this for, not necessarily am I working for the good guy, but it's more of like, is life more important than work? And it really makes him like question that. And he does bust his ass to get more and more problems solved within the company. And I love that aspect of Severance. And it really makes you think and really think about, your position and where you're at in your company. And for me, like I said, being in the corporate world, a lot of times, you get that pressure from management to work extra, getting paid for it. And then that should be acceptable because you are trying to promote yourself. You're trying to move your way up in this like quote unquote like rat race. And it's really kind of toxic. Something else that I thought was so fun. I believe so far this show has been awesome, been a ton of fun to watch, and I can't wait for more. I would love to hear any kind of fan theories that anybody is thinking about. Here's one of mine. I think Mrs. Wong is the daughter of Mark and Gemma. She just gets randomly introduced. She just kind of gets thrown in there. There was that weird like scene where Mark is like, I've made 4 new friends. And she immediately is like, I'm your supervisor. And that was just, it's so weird and like interesting. And I don't know. My belief is that may be their child. I don't know, just a thought. Again, it just seems so random and weird that they just threw her in there. The time frame is kind of weird. I don't know how long. I don't know if, again, I wasn't super paying attention to the timeline, but hey, you know what? It's my theory. Or it could just be Gemma's kid. I don't know. Or there's some sort of relationship there. I don't know. But that's one of my theories. Anyway, tell me yours. So far, pleasantly surprised. I hope they, keep it up. And as a fan, I just hope it gets better and better and better. I also want to know more about what the fuck is going on with the goats. Sacrificial lamb for... I don't know. I want to know more. So hopefully they keep it up, keep doing an awesome job. Again, this one I feel like they've had a resolution with Gemma, which I really liked. It definitely ended better than season 1. So it's gotten better from season 1 to season 2. I think I've rambled long enough. So that's basically it. Tell me what you think. I'm going to say so far this show is fucking metal.